Hello, hello. This is Allyse Sedivy, and you are listening to the Daily Mentor Calls, and I'm excited you're here. We are on call number 20, and we're going to continue with our Introduction to Oils class. So in our last call, we talked about how you teach somebody the three cool things about oils and how they remember it by you giving out little sample vials. So you give out one for the first cool way, the second cool way, the third cool way, and then you give out one for someone that knows all three. Well, we're going to do the same thing here, right? And so we've already given out 4 oils, and in this section, we're going to give out 4 more samples of oils. And make sure that they're the little samples. Don't give out a full oil bottle. This is not good, and it's definitely not duplicatable. And then the second thing we're going to do is sometime during this section, you want to share another experience. So it should be quick, under 1 minute, and it should be specifically about either the aromatic or topical or internal use of essential oils. And don't give an experience for every single one of them. It's just too long and it drags out. It's too much. So just choose one that you have maybe the best experience about. So I choose, and I say the same one, but I choose topically. And it's about my little boy, and you'll hear about it. So you can choose the one you want. If you have a better experience with aromatic use, or if you have a great experience with the internal use, choose that one. And this will be the second time that we share experiences. The first time was at the introduction, right after the introduction, and we tell a little bit about ourselves and our experience. And now is the second time, and you'll have another time, and that will be at the end of the class, and that should be your most powerful experience. So just like before, I'm going to split this up into segments, and I'm going to let you listen to me, and then go ahead and stop when I tell you, hey, pause the audio. I want you to practice that. And then you can start it again, and we'll go to the second one, and then we'll pause it, and you can practice that, and then the third one. And then we'll pause it, you can practice that, and then we'll end the call. Now, some of you might be tempted not to practice. You just want to listen to the whole thing, and you think you have it in your mind, but I promise you, it is not yours unless you can say it out of your mouth. I'm going to tell you a little story about one of my frontline. Her name was Molly Dayton. And right at the very, very first month that she joined doTERRA, she wanted to enter Diamond Club. It's a competition for how many people can sign up, the most people in the company. And usually a lot of the bigger leaders with bigger teams will win the competition because it's competitive. Well, she was brand new. She just signed up. She had no idea how to teach classes, but she knows she wanted to try and join Diamond Club, which you'll learn a lot more about Diamond Club at the end of the mentor calls. It's awesome. It's one of the quickest ways to build your business. But she decided that she was just going to listen to this class over and over and over and over again. And she listened to it while she was working out, while she was in the car. She would say it out loud, and she practiced. So much so that she gave such a good class, and she was brand new with a very little team. And she was so good at closing people and signing people up that day that she took first place in the entire United States for Diamond Club. So guess what? Practice really works, and it really helps. So do me a favor, and when I say pause, go ahead and pause and practice that section. Okay, let's just get started. The first way to use essential oils is aromatically. Everyone take their fingers and pinch right above the bridge of their nose, right there. Yeah, you got it. Right under your fingers is your olfactory nerve. Now you can take your fingers off. You look a little silly. But this nerve sends signals and messages to the limbic system in your brain, which in turn sends messages to all over your body. And some people think it's a little hokey to say oils could affect the body just by smelling them. But let me illustrate something. When you go to the dentist and need to be sedated, they don't give you a pill or a shot. Many times they offer you laughing gas and ask you to breathe through a mask. In as little as 30 seconds of breathing, the synthetic compound? Well, it goes through the mask, and the gas triggers your olfactory nerve and system, sending signals to your body to help you relax and even feel euphoric. It is the fastest way to access the brain. This happens exactly the same way with natural compounds found in essential oils. When we breathe in natural compounds from essential oils, they hit our olfactory nerve, and the olfactory nerve sends signals to the limbic system, which in turn sends signals to the rest of your body. The fastest way to get essential oils into your system is by breathing them in. This actually can happen in less than 30 seconds. So, there are a few ways to use essential oils aromatically. First, you can breathe them from your hands, just like we did this morning, right, with peppermint. Or you can use them in a diffuser, or you can breathe them right from the bottle. Just open up the lid and breathe them in, right? So let's have an experience with wild orange right now. So I'm going to walk around and I'm going to actually put 1 drop of wild orange in each of your hands. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to rub your hands together, cup your hands, and bring them up to your nose and try and breathe them in. And let's breathe them in for 30 seconds like we did before. Now, describe what you smell. Describe your feeling, right? It's awesome, huh? Not only does it smell good, but actually in this wild orange are natural compounds that help with stress. It helps with calming people down, right? And it helps with depression. It's incredible. I take wild orange all the time, everywhere I go. So the first way to use essential oils is aromatically. Does anyone here know the second way that we use essential oils? And then, of course, you go and you hand them a little sample vial, and you tell them a little bit about it. Do you see here how when you give different samples and you can speak just a little bit about lemon or peppermint or frankincense or whatever it is, that you give an overview of the oils? It's pretty awesome. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pause, and I want you to just take a minute, a couple minutes, and review this, and do it a few times so it feels really, really, really natural, okay? And then when you're done, you can unpause. Okay, the second way to use essential oils is topically. You can actually apply oils directly to the skin. Now, for children and for people with sensitive skin, you'll probably want to dilute them with fractionated coconut oil. It's just as effective, it just takes a little longer to absorb. So basically, it's not as tingly in some children that bothers, right? And it's easier on the skin for people that have really, really sensitive skin. You can even apply oils to the bottoms of your feet, including babies. You can do this with babies, and it won't bother them. So the pores on the bottom of your feet are really big, and the oil absorbs very quickly into the bloodstream. It's a great way to get oils into your system really fast. So what health concerns would be best to use the topical application of essential oils? Now we want to wait for a minute, right? And let them answer. And if they're having a little bit hard time, you might help them with things like, right, burns or bug bites or, sores, acne, all sorts of things for the topical use of essential oils. And when people answer, just comment really briefly on it. You can just say something simply like, yeah, that would be great for the topical use, or you're right about that, or I've used that before, something like that. So the second way to use essential oils is topically. And I want to tell you a little story about my son, McKay, when he was like 4 years old. So McKay was sitting on the kitchen counter, and just to keep him occupied while I got ready in the morning, we'd play this little game. And while I was putting my makeup on, I would say things like, McKay, can you hand me my mascara? Or McKay, can you give me my makeup brush? Or I would say, McKay, can you hand me my curling iron? Well, one day, McKay grabbed the barrel of the curling iron. Right, it was so hot. And that's a bad burn, right? And so I immediately put his hand under the cold water, and I thought for sure that it was going to be super red and probably blistery. Well, I ran and grabbed, it was right in my bedroom. So I ran and grabbed the lavender essential oil and I applied it to McKay's burn. And the very next day, I couldn't even tell that he was burned. It's really amazing on skin and incredible on burns, right? So once again, the second way to use essential oils is topically. So does anyone here know the second way to use essential oils? Do you remember? So you let them answer and you give them a little sample vial and talk a little bit about it. So now I want you to just pause for just a minute right here and practice the second way that we use essential oils, which is topically. And then when you're done, you can go ahead and start the recording again. Okay, the third way that we use essential oils is internally. Now, these essential oils are not only safe to use internally, they are recommended to use internally. This CPTG standard, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, means these oils are a medicinal grade and are completely safe to ingest, unlike most other brands. You can put them in your mouth or you can drink them in water. If you don't like the taste, you can even put them in little veggie capsule. And it's like concocting your own little natural remedy. So what do you think? What health concerns do you think would be best to use the internal application of essential oils? Can you think of any health concerns for the internal use of essential oils? And then you listen, right? And if they struggle a little bit, you can help them out with things like, well, you can use it for upset stomach. You can use it for allergies because it's systemic. You can use it for colds and flus, all sorts of things like that. So you help them out, let people answer, and then you comment briefly. So the third way to use essential oils is internally. Who can tell me the third way that we use essential oils? Somebody will raise their hand, you give them an oil, you talk just a teeny bit about the oil, and then you move on. Now, what I like to do is I like to then say, can anyone, and this is a little bit harder, can anyone tell me a health issue that you might use all three ways of essential oil? Like use all three ways, aromatically, topically, and internally. They have to think for a minute, and they might say things like a cold, a flu, allergies, anything that's systemic, right? I like to do that with them. And then I simply ask, who can tell me all three ways we use essential oils? We reward them, and we talk about the oil. So I want you to go ahead and pause the call one more time, practice the internal use of essential oils, and then start the call at the very end. All right, so we're really getting close to the halfway mark of our class, and already we've given out 8 samples, right? For the next part, we're going to probably give out at least 7 or 8 more. So make sure you have at least 15. 15 is a lot better when you have 8 people come to the class. But by this time, people are feeling really comfortable. They're interactive and they're raising their hands. They're speaking in a class. The more you get them to talk, the more excited they get, the better it is, right? And we are ready for the most powerful part of the class. It's coming up next. And I'll talk to you next on the next call. Bye-bye.